Hey everybody, welcome to NateFlix. This is an exciting time because this is the first ever original NateFlix production. If you go through my YouTube channel, you'll see what I've been doing for my local TV station as their movie critic and some things I've done in the past working for my television stations and outlets all over the world. But this is my voice. This is my show, my time. What we're going to do in this segment is break down upcoming movies, bring you some movie news that have come out this week, also tell you a little bit about Avengers Endgame and what my thoughts are. So that's what this channel is. This channel is a way for me to kind of talk to the average person about movie news. I'm not here to crap on everyone and tell everyone how movies are supposed to be made, because if I knew, I'd be making a few $100 million making movies right now, but I'm not. So my whole term of movie criticism is kind of to speak to the average person. Say what really works in this film, what hits on the human emotion, what is this film fulfilling the expectation of what it actually should be. And so that's kind of my whole forte. Before we kind of go into, I'll tell you a little bit about me. My name is Nathan McVeigh, and I live in Ankeny, Iowa. It's a little suburb outside of Des Moines. I've lived all over. I've worked in film in Missouri, in New York City, Los Angeles. Those are towns you probably have heard of otherwise than besides Ankeny. But with that, I've kind of got a whole term of knowledge and talked to so many people, really been around the industry and learned a few things. So with that, I love movies, and so it's a really great thing to talk about them, and I've been lucky enough to have people care about what I think about movies for the last few years, and so I've started this YouTube channel to kind of compile all of that and give a voice that's not really heard, and that's what I'm here for. So this is NateFlix. The format of what we're going to do is kind of break it down. I'll give you my movie reviews. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about, what I liked, what I didn't like. Today we're talking about Avengers Endgame. Might have heard about that movie. I'll also be the person that's in charge of giving you movie news. It's hard to stay on top of current events. I understand. Mostly when you read the news, you either get really angry. Actually, most of the time people are getting angry when they hear the news, no matter what they think. It's not a place for friendliness. So getting your entertainment news, you can kind of get buried in all that baloney, you could say. So I'm here to give you some news. Also, we'll talk about old movies of past. If you go through my YouTube channel, you see the segment I do called Cinemaniacs. It's kind of a fun thing I came up with where we talk about older movies in the framework of what's coming out today. So for instance, when Us came out, we talked about the best films to overcome the sophomore slump. A lot of filmmakers have had many great debut films, have had outstanding debut films, but the hardest thing is carrying over that momentum and making a great second feature, which really puts you on the map. So if you view the Cinemaniacs best films to overcome the sophomore slump, what we did is we looked at those best sophomore slumps and we talked about older movies. It's a lot of fun to have someone tell you to go back what movies you got to see. So in that one, we talked about Pulp Fiction and Jaws. We talked about Whiplash, one of my favorites by Damien Chazelle, and a Sundance movie. Nathan loves his Sundance movies. And so that's kind of the thing that we like to do. And so this channel will serve as not only a way for you to find out about what's going on now, but also tell you about movies that you should go back and look at, which is fun. So let's get into it. So this week was a pretty busy week in news and big week in movies. And that main reason is Avengers Endgame. It is absolutely destroying records. It's unbelievable. The whole big thing that everyone was looking forward was, is it going to be the first film to make $300 million opening weekend? I think it's gonna. The crazy thing is, it is right now, it is Saturday in Des Moines, and it is not even 5 o'clock yet. And Avengers Endgame has already broke the record for the biggest worldwide opening. That's unbelievable. And guess what was in first place before? Avengers Infinity War. That's pretty impressive. It's going to have the number 1 and the number 2 spot, and that's nuts. You know what? I think it kind of deserves it, if you ask me, but we'll get there later. No spoilers. No spoilers on the review, but no spoiler on telling what my review is, even though I kind of just did. In other movie news, we had news that the Rugrats movie, this is a thing, found its director. It's the director that did the Diary of the Wimpy Kids movies, and his name is David Bowers. Use my little cheat sheet over here. I hope that's okay. David Bowers directed all 3 of the Diary of the Wimpy Kids films, and so he's going to approach Rugrats, which makes sense to me. Now, the Rugrats is not going to be an animated film. It's going to be a live action remake, which makes me really wonder how they're going to do that, but it's fine. There's a big movement that's happened lately of making animated films switching them over to live action. And I'm really kind of wondering if that trend is going to carry over. I know Dumbo did okay. I don't think it met the expectations that it really wanted to. And we haven't even gotten to the other three that are coming later this year, from Aladdin, which I think will do really well, and Lion King, which I think is going to be the movie that rivals Avengers in terms of box office success. But then later this year, we're going to get Maleficent 2. And these are great. I know it's the constant battle of, do we want original films or do we want movies that are going to make studios money? And I'm not here to tell people how to make their money. So if you're Disney and you know you have a formula that works, you're probably going to follow up on it. Now, to kind of tie that back into Rugrats, there's a lot of people that love Rugrats. A lot of them my age that watched Rugrats when they were growing up. And so there's going to be that initial interest in it. I got to check this out. What is Chucky going to look like? Oh, Tommy Pickles. That's what he looks like as a live person? Maybe I should see this movie. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. Who knows? We'll see. But it's a pretty proven director. It's sort of exciting. I guess it's on my radar. We'll see. And the other movie bit of news was the Bond 25 cast reveal. And I think I know who's going to be the bad guy. They haven't confirmed it, but Rami Malek is going to be in Bond 25, which he came out on Twitter and said it's basically his dream come true to be in this. And I don't know if you've seen that movie where he lists his favorite things and what he's in love with. That might have made him be typecast as the villain and terrifying, creepy person for the rest of his life. I'm excited about this news. It's Bond. It's the 25th Bond, and apparently it's going to be Daniel Craig's final take into the Bond universe. I think it's kind of time. He's kind of been James Bond for a long time. He's great, but I think it's time. I think it's time that we pass the torch on. It's kind of an exciting one to go out on as Bond 25. But yeah, it should be good. And Rami Malek is not a bad person to add to your cast. Well, that's it for the movie news. I'll stay up on top of it for next week. Maybe something big will happen next week and we'll come up. And let me know if you want any takes on any of the news. It's fun to be given the news, but you kind of want a little spin to it, a little bit of commentary. So I hope I provided something interesting. And finally, now it's time for the Avengers Endgame review. What did I think? Spoiler, I loved it. It's outstanding. That'll be the only spoiler that happens after this. It's incredible. I think it is probably the biggest cinematic achievement of all time. Why do you ask me that? Because of all the moving parts, everything they had to deal with, and the degree of difficulty that it took in pulling this off. It's mind-boggling. It's insane. It's 22 films all in one universe put together, one finish line right here, and you had to nail it. You had the entire expectation of the Marvel Universe, and they did it. It took 11 years for them to get this. And they had so many different storylines, from Iron Man's entire backstory, Thor's entire world backstory, Captain America, years of the making. And then you're throwing in Guardians of the Galaxy. You're throwing in Captain Marvel. You're throwing in all of these other storylines, and you have to make them somewhat come together. And they did. And it's unbelievable. The reason I think that this movie kind of passes its predecessors in the comic book universe is it's heavy. It's serious. And why? It's because they just lost. They just took the biggest L you could possibly take. And when comic book heroes and superheroes lose, it's not just, oh, they lost out on a little tiny thing, like they don't get the right dinner made for them. No, their loss just caused a ton of people to die, to perish, to just disappear. Now that takes a huge toll, and it does in this entire movie. So what you get is a drama, something serious, something heavy. From the very first scene, which takes place in the same timeline as the very end, you are let in that this is not going to be light fare. This is not going to be something that is just easy viewing. And from that, you have this sense of weight that is held over the entire film, and the stakes have never been higher. And from that, it's outstanding. Robert Downey Jr., wonderful. Chris Evans, so good. Chris Hemsworth, the entire cast is good. The person I think that kind of doesn't get the credit that they deserve is Josh Brolin. He's outstanding as Thanos. He's so good in his tone of voice, the seriousness, to where what he's doing is the worst thing that any person's ever done to the entire universe, but it's still weighted in something human, something emotional. It's incredible. But what I love so much about this movie is the humanization of superhumans. It's a very fancy term I came up with. You see these people that have been untouchable that are suddenly now destroyed. And from that, the entire movie just takes off. It's outstanding. I thought I knew it was going to happen. I have to tell you. I thought I had a theory. I knew it was going to happen. Like, I figured, okay, a few people might go down. I know who those people are going to be. I know how the whole movie is going to go. About 15 minutes into it, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know anything. Why did I even try to guess? I don't know. But it turned out great. I absolutely loved it. I'm not going to go into too much more because I don't want to spoil. But the Russo brothers are outstanding. They've made some incredible films, from Winter Soldier to Infinity War to now Endgame. They know how to handle it. The stories that came out that this is going to be the last Marvel Universe film that they do for now, and I agree. I think it's time for them to step away. Maybe they can be there in the future to kind of pick up the pieces if it ever goes off the rails. But they know how to handle human emotion, the backstory. And that backstory, they had a lot to pull from. But somehow they made a film that ties together every loose end. It gives odes to films that you never even imagined they would go back to, and it's so good. And the ending is outstanding. It's heart-wrenching. It's inspiring. It's incredible, and it somehow makes cheeseburgers the saddest thing in the entire world. But no spoilers. That's it. All right, so I'm going to stop there. Let's see, on my NateFlix rating system, I break it down good. I give a 1 out of 100 scale. That's right, I'm grading it. We're giving out grades here. So Endgame, that's tough. That's going to be hard. I'm going to say it's a passing grade. I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to give it a 94 out of 100. That's a big scale. That's the starting block here. It's very passing. It's not A+. Why is it not A+? There's a few things wrong. There's a few plot holes, maybe tiny things that I'm not really sure. It does everything it needs to do. It's just not incredibly inventive in certain aspects. But it's for what it needs to be, it's outstanding. It's so good. Not many movies are going to get A's on the NateFlix. I promise you that. So thank you so much. You stay tuned. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be having content every week, daily for sometimes. There's going to be some good stuff out here. I really want to get some interaction, some comments. If there's movies you want me to talk about, to bring up, if you have ideas for themes to do with Cinemaniacs, please throw them my way. I appreciate you so much for coming to the channel. I'm so excited to see everyone that views these channels and comments, and I'm excited to come back next time. This has been NateFlix. I'm Nathan. Thank you so much.